This is the SpongeBob SquarePants Bubble Bass theory. Let's get the ball rolling. Now, Bubble Bass has only been in 2 episodes of SpongeBob. One of the episodes he was in where Plankton stole the Krabby Patty and Bubble Bass was at the end of the episode when Mr. Krabs flung him and he was little jelly bean in Bubble Bass's fingers. Then Bubble Bass's main role was when he challenged SpongeBob in the Battle of the Pickles, which definitely was an epic battle. But it's not really stated how SpongeBob knows Bubble Bass. So here's where my theory comes in at. I believe that SpongeBob has been working at the Krusty Krab around that time for maybe a year and some change, because this was the early episode of SpongeBob. The most SpongeBob has been working in maybe 2 years. And he met Bubble Bass along this way when he was training to become a fry cook. And also, we never get to see the Shell Shack. We only hear it in one episode. The dog at the Shell Shack is singing. But what if Bubble Bass was actually a former fry cook at a different restaurant, and SpongeBob knows him because when SpongeBob was training to be a fry cook, probably in his house or local competitions, he ran across Bubble Bass, which SpongeBob doesn't really like for obvious reasons. I mean, who likes Bubble Bass? And this is something to think about because it's never really stated. As soon as SpongeBob sees Bubble Bass, he goes, Bubble Bass. But we don't know why. So I definitely think that at some point in time, SpongeBob met Bubble Bass because Bubble Bass is either a former fry cook that works for a different restaurant, and when SpongeBob was going through his training process before Patrick came to his house and gave him the motivation to work at the Krusty Krab, or I think that Bubble Bass could be maybe some old friend of SpongeBob and who wanted to become a fry cook just to spite SpongeBob, or I think that Bubble Bass could just be just a little fat blob that nobody really cares about. But what do you think? Do you think that Bubble Bass could be a former chef at a different restaurant that ran into SpongeBob and that's how SpongeBob knows Bubble Bass? Or do you think that Bubble Bass could just be an old friend of SpongeBob's, and wants to basically be a nuisance to SpongeBob in any way, shape, or form that he can? The theory has been completed.